If you would please come up.
Is it going? Yes. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to look down the question. The question is, how do you differ from your opponent? What's your primary difference from your opponent? I'm sorry, and after you are finished, you may come up and then you will continue with the question.
Okay, I'm Gresham Bouma. I saw part of my assignment was introducing myself. So, and how I differ from my opponent, I believe I have a very different view of how we need to address the problems facing us economically and in education and probably in other areas as well. I firmly believe in the system of government that we've had in this country. That's found in our founding documents. I believe that in free markets, rule of law, and limited government. And although frequently we hear many of the problems that we see nowadays blamed on the free markets, especially by the press at large, I don't believe that. I believe that they instead stem from somewhere else. And my opponent frequently sees solutions coming from government. I believe that solutions come from the American people, that true and positive change springs from the ground up, from the grassroots level up, and I think it's high time we saw that change taking fruit here in America. We've been talking about education and the economy quite a bit. I believe that the free market addresses some of the issues and problems in the economy far better than anything else could. We need to turn American entrepreneurship loose. We need to protect Idaho's businessmen from interference at the federal level, and we need to make sure that the private sector survives, because the government sector has been growing for decades, and we've masked that growth by borrowing from outside the system and throwing money at the economy. So we really don't see how much the private sector has shrunk. Thank you.
Question again?
The question was, what is your primary difference from your opponent?
So my name's Dan Schmidt. I'm a family physician, and I've lived here in Moscow for quite a while. Running for state senate. This is the last of quite a few forums we've had, and I've gotten to listen to Gresham speak quite a bit. And so the answer to that question, how do we differ? Not by that much. We're both willing to put ourselves out here, do the work to run for public office, and put ourselves before you, open ourselves up to this judgment. We share a common humanity, we share a common value in this community. Gresham did point out clearly that his perception of my perception of free markets. And we haven't really talked about that. So I'm going to tell you what I believe about free markets. Free markets are, in my opinion, very similar to natural selection. I believe in natural selection. Natural selection is something I dealt with as a physician every day. I saw it happen. Free markets happen. They both happen to make something occur. Natural selection makes the best species evolve for that niche that fits that niche. Free markets occur to bring the best price for that demand, and that's all they do. They're very similar. Now, if price is what you want, then you release that free market. You encourage that free market, and that's what you'll get, the best price. However, our Constitution clearly says there's something else we created government for. We did this to promote a more perfect union and to promote the common good. Thank you.
Dr. Schmidt, if you would just remain at the podium, I have a series of questions I'd like to ask you. First of all, What is your view of the role of state government and its relationship to the federal government?
State government is the clear relationship that we have within our region. Relationship to the federal government is limited by what our state government can do and what our federal government can't do. It's a constant negotiation, what can and can't happen, and that's been demonstrated by our legislature this last session. In its, historically in the United States, shoot, we fought a pretty big war over that one. So it's something that's continually negotiated.
Thank you. Secondly, on your website you write that special tax exemptions for businesses is short-sighted. What do you believe would be a long-sighted approach to investing in local businesses?
For people to invest in local businesses. Is that your question?
Or even from a state level, how those businesses grow and just strengthen the Idaho's economy?
Okay, the long-term investment that the state should do and needs to do is to create a healthy environment in which business can flourish. The state's role in that, to me, is to provide stable support services, stable taxation, so that the business can know what to expect. When services, when tax revenues are unstable, businesses are left having to deal with that in addition to economic upturns and downturns. So investment in education, investment in infrastructure, investment in the key services that the state should be providing is a way to promote businesses.
Would you see healthcare as one of those investments?
State investment in healthcare at this point, I think, isn't appropriately limited to the Medicaid program, which is a federal program that the state administers. The state of Idaho should, in my opinion, have a much more direct and much more say in how it administers that program. Should the state administer or be involved more in healthcare, there are ways in which it can be involved more that would improve private sector delivery of health care. But that's, I'm not sure that answers your question.
That's good. Also, what would that specific plan really look like? If you have a few minutes left. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bouma. I also have a series of questions for you, beginning with the same question. What is your view of the role of state government and its relationship to the federal government?
I think that the role of the federal government is defined by the Constitution, and it's very limited, therefore, and I think it's exceeded those roles dramatically. I think, along with that observation, is the fact that we find ourselves in a time when probably shortly the federal government won't be able to afford to be in so many roles in so many places, and I think the states need to begin taking responsibility that they should have been bearing all along. I believe they should have been a check and a balance to that federal growth, but the ability of the federal government to tax citizens directly and use the money to bribe the states has really warped our system.
Okay, following that, how is Idaho affected by national debt?
Well, there isn't a part of America that ultimately won't be dramatically affected by national debt, because when we run out of the ability to borrow more, then the ability of the government to spend and really throw money at the economy will change, and so it's really a problem coming at every single one of us, and to say that we shouldn't be concerned about it as a state is like saying that a harbor master shouldn't be concerned about a coming tsunami.
More specifically about Idaho's economy, what effect will President Obama's proposed energy tax have on the industrial and agricultural sectors of Idaho, and what would you do about it?
The effect of the energy tax?
Yes.
The energy tax affects everything, because energy is an input into every good purchase, you know, whether it's transportation or the production of the item. And so it dramatically affects everything we buy. It'll affect, you know, our utility, the costs associated with simply living and meeting our physical needs. And it'll affect dramatically the ability of Idaho's businesses to be profitable. And there's plenty of those on the edge of profitability right now. And some have laid off employees to squeak by or are simply showing no profit and hanging on to their employees. And to push, you know, push the expenses up now, it'd be disastrous.
Okay. And what is one change or improvement you would make on the current education system?
One change, I think that I would support Tom Luna's program that would allow teachers to opt into being paid based on performance instead of a strict being paid strictly by experience and credits on their scale that doesn't reflect performance at all.
Thank you.